Hello, so what I was going to show you today is my collection of lightsabers. I've always had a fascination with lightsabers. I originally collected the Master Replicas Force FX lightsabers back in the noughties. I sold all those probably about 8 or 9 years ago, and I wish I hadn't now really, but I had 7 of those Force FX lightsabers, and I thought those were just amazing value for money because they had a full metal hilt, they incorporated sound effects, they incorporated the lighting effects, and I just love them to bits, and I have no idea why I sold them, but I did. But along the way, I also collected their other line of replicas. So these were from Master Replicas, but these were designed to be as close to the original props from the movies as possible. And unlike the Force FX lightsabers, they didn't have any lighting, any sound effects whatsoever, which meant that they were actually a lot heavier as well. So this is predominantly a solid piece of various metals, coppers, brass, aluminium, steel, and some of it chromed as well. So as you can see from the plaque there, this is from A New Hope. It was Obi-Wan, old Ben Kenobi, played by Alec Guinness in the original movie. And the end, I love the style of this saber, and Master Replicas made a couple of these. So this one is because it's from A New Hope. As you can see, it's battle damaged, so it's well worn and weathered, and I love this, absolutely love it. But they also did the clean version from the prequels as well, and that's also a lovely replica as well. So in the hand, it feels absolutely amazing, and that is due to the weight. The end of it, you've got the sort of chromed, flared pommel, which is typical on this kind of lightsaber, and then you have a grip section. Unlike some of the others, maybe on the Darth Vader section, this is not rubberized. So this is a slatted metal section here, and then you've got the shroud, which encompasses the on-off switch, if this was a real working lightsaber. And then further up, you've got what most call the grenade section. And it's called the grenade section simply because it's got the slotted effect, and then the vertical scoring going around, which kind of resembles a grenade. And then moving up, the neck kind of thins out, and then you've got a brass section, which, as you can see in there, it's got a brass insert, and then finally it moves up to sort of like a titanium grey flared emitter section at the end. It's a lovely saber, and I have to say it's one of my favourite designs out of the Star Wars universe. So now we turn to the dark side, and probably one of the most iconic in the Star Wars universe, which is of course Darth Vader. Now this particular one is taken from Episode 3. So you could say that this particular version of the Darth Vader kind of played a cameo role really, because it was only at the very end of that movie where Anakin turned to Darth Vader and went to the dark side. So it's much the same as the original Darth Vader from A New Hope, but there are some modifications around the switch area and the front emitter as well. Whereas the original front emitter was less boxy than this, it was just more round with a greebly on the one side of it. This has got this sort of boxed out section and silver greebly, or chrome emitter end piece, whatever you want to call it. You've got some fake sort of copper effect switches on either side, and some kind of switch gear running around that section as well. And then you've got the main activation box here with the black sleeve. And then what is well known in the Star Wars universe is this style of grip with these rubber like T-bar sections that you saw on the original New Hope lightsaber. And then a relatively small pommel. I do like this version, even though it's probably not quite as iconic as the Darth Vaders from the original movies. I do like this style, and I do like the more boxier section on the front end emitter. And then you've got the CoverTech wheel, if you want to hang it off your belt. Lovely lightsaber, nice weight to it. So then Attack of the Clones and lightsaber and the lightsaber universe was really turned on its head, because traditionally they were sort of a straight tube affair when it came to lightsabers, and then we had Count Dooku's lightsaber, where we saw Count Dooku fight Yoda in the cave, and this completely changed everything. It doesn't have the same diameter or thickness as the other lightsabers, but it's quite a comfortable saber to hold. It's a narrower grip than the others. Obviously, it's got the curve, quite iconic Count Dooku curve. A beautiful chromed pommel with a brace bar on the back section, the CoverTech wheel. You've got the red acrylic, some kind of switch gear, I'm guessing. I've seen this difference on some of the custom lightsabers, so I don't know how accurate this is, but I've seen this as a red anodized aluminium section, whereas on this Master Replicas one it's just red acrylic. I've no idea as to which one is correct. You've then got the textured rubber hand grips in 3 sections. So you've got a section around the CoverTech wheel, and then you've got 3 segments around the main grip area. And then it continues to curve up to the top, where you've got this sort of gold brass around the front emitter, and then you've got this kind of bar that starts around there and follows up right underneath the back, straight into this quite awesome looking claw, I think you'd call it. It's a stunning lightsaber. I remember, I believe that Master Replicas eventually released this in their FX range. I think it was one of the last ones that they released. But it really is a stunning lightsaber. Again, although it's quite small, it's completely solid metal, so it's got some serious weight to it. So now we start moving into the realm of the electronic lightsabers. So although this lightsaber hasn't got sound, and it doesn't have a light up saber as such, it does have other features on this. And by the way, most of these I have reviewed on my channel years ago, so I'm just giving you a brief rundown of these sabers. I'm not going into any major detail on these. And every single one of these lightsabers have got their own custom stand. I'm just using a single stand at the moment to keep it simple. So this one is what they call the Luke Skywalker reveal, and I believe it was, I can't remember exactly as to whether it was a cut scene taken from one of the original movies, but basically this whole thing comes apart and you can see the kyber crystal inside it. So I'm just going to quickly show that now. So you've got a switch on the side. So what you can do is you can turn this, you can open it up, and then you've got the green kyber crystal inside. Close that up, turn it to lock, and then you've also got a switch inside. So you've got all the electronics housed inside there, and then when you flick the switch inside, it just gives you a couple of LEDs that light up in there. And then on top of that, you've also got, if you twist and pull, and then you can also see some of the additional science fiction related electronics inside of that as well. It's beautifully engineered. The one thing I probably will knock it for is that it's a little bit sticky when you're trying to open and close this, but apart from that, it's pretty good. And then at the end there, you've just got an emitter that kind of clicks forward and shuts back. Again, it's a very iconic lightsaber from the original Star Wars universe. Just there we go. It's been a while since I've used this. So it's predominantly an aluminium piece, this particular one. So it's in sort of a brushed aluminium finish with another flared, knobbled pommel at the end. Quite a reasonably comfortable lightsaber apart from the box, but it can be one of those lightsabers that you can wield with two hands, one hand down there and one hand on the sort of slotted grenade section above here. It narrows down, and then you've got a copper section, as you can see, and then you've got the extended front emitter. This was made as a limited run. It was done by EFX going back, I think I must have had this maybe in about 2012, I would imagine, and I feel really lucky to have this. I think these were around about, I think I paid between 500 and 600 for these. I think they go on eBay now, even second hand. You're probably looking about 1,500 now for these. If someone has got a brand new sealed in box one, then you're probably going to pay about £2,000 now for these. It's a beautiful saber, and it's well worth having in anyone's collection. It's beautiful. So this is one of those really popular designs. It was actually another one from Obi-Wan Kenobi, used in the prequels, and I absolutely love this design. It's a really popular. I just love this massive flared pommel in black and polished aluminium. You then got this quite a large handle section with the ribs. Again, it's all mixed. You've got sort of the satin black anodized or powder coated element in there, and then you've got the sort of polished aluminium everywhere else. This is actually made by Ultrasabers, so it's kind of it's not exactly accurate to the original movie prop. It's actually a lot bigger. I think the original prop will probably be around about that big, probably, and not quite as broad. But the reason for that is that it is incorporating electronics in there. It's got light-up features. I love the end section as well. The way you've got this kind of cross combination of the matte black and silver. I've got a blade plug in this section at the moment. You've got the red knobs and switches. You've got a brass collar and jewel inside there, and then I've got the illuminated LED switch in this one. It's got great sound. These Ultrasabers, I would say Ultrasabers are kind of like a mid to high end sabersmith. You can spend more on them. You can spend anything between sort of 400 up to about £1,000, and even beyond £1,000 if you want the ultimate in lightsabers. But I think Ultrasabers are pretty good value. It's got the usual sound effects in this, and the clash effects. You've got a lock-up feature when you press the button. It's just a really lovely looking saber. I have two from Ultrasabers, and I'll show you the other one in a moment. But yeah, another cracking saber. Very, very pleased with this one. You've also got the small windows which allow light through. So this is my other Ultrasabers one, and I actually reviewed this one and the other Ultrasabers one probably a couple of years ago now, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you know, if you're looking for sort of like a mid-range, reasonably spec lightsaber, you can't go too far wrong with Ultrasabers. This, similar to the other one, has got the LED activation switch. It's got the same board, it's got the Obsidian soundboard. Got the usual it's a bit difficult in this room. I'm trying to show you this one with the blade in. The other one also comes with the blade, but I've got the other one unplugged. But you can take these blades out and put in a saber plug, and then you get the halo ring in there. This particular one has got the flash on clash, so when you hit something it goes purple. You might be able to see that on reflection against my face rather than the actual light. So I'd imagine the colour of this is not coming out very well on the film. Nice lightsaber. I suppose you could say fairly simple one really, apart from the claws that you've got. You've got these sort of 8-inch claws on the end of the emitter on this, but everything else is pretty much the same as the other one really. So that one, I think this was called the Raven. I think. Could be wrong. Yeah, I think it's a Raven. So this, of course, is Darth Maul's lightsaber. So this is the double-ended staff that we saw in The Phantom Menace. And this is from Master Replicas again. It doesn't have any lighting, it doesn't have any sound effects in this one. It's just designed to be as accurate as possible to the original used film prop. It's a lovely piece of craftsmanship, I must say. The machining and turning on this is absolutely beautiful. I love the end emitter sections where you've got this sort of chamfered rib and then followed by sort of a grooved end section on both sides that follows through into the middle, and then you've got these black sort of bushings, rubber bushings in various locations. And then on top of that you've got these machined knurled knobs and buttons, not functional. They don't do anything on this. And then turning around you've got some additional jewels on the lightsaber going along there. And then you've got a typical wheel, a Covertech wheel, just on that section. It's a good weight too, because as you can imagine it's basically two lightsabers that you've got here. So it's a good size. The ends are completely polished, chrome polished at the end, and then the overall finish on the main body is in sort of a not quite bright silver. It's sort of almost like sort of a grey, a gunmetal finish on the main body. So if you want to get into sort of collecting movie memorabilia, then lightsabers are not a bad way to actually start. A couple of reasons really is that the one is that they are quite small. Unlike the busts and statues that I've got in this room, which take up huge amounts of space, these are quite compact. Even on the stands, they only stand probably about 4 inches tall. So if you've got like a bookcase or something that you can stand them on, they are an easy product to collect. And you don't have to spend a huge amount on these lightsabers. You can, from some of the sabersmiths online, if you can actually buy a hollow hilt, probably about $100 or so, plus the shipping. So that's going to translate into UK pounds after shipping, probably over £100, £120 or so, £130. That's for a hollow hilt. So it won't be as heavy as these Master Replicas versions, because it will be sort of a tube without the electronics. If you're willing to spend a bit more, then you've got a couple of options. If you want to stick to the mainstream stuff, then what you can do is go with Disney's Black series of lightsabers. So those are metal hilts. So for example, they probably do, I think, a Darth Vader one, metal hilt, not as heavy as this, but it does have the electronics, so you will have sound, you will have lighting effects. Those are about £200 here in the UK. If you want to move up from that and you want to have something with improved sound, much louder, throatier, sound with more bass and much brighter lighting effect, then you can go to a Sabersmith, and there are loads to choose from out there. These particular ones, as I mentioned, are from Ultrasabers, these particular ones. And these are relatively good value. At least there was when I bought them. The trouble is here in the UK is that with the exchange rate being quite poor at the moment, then you'd probably be looking picking up of this one or the Raven, those would probably cost you, after taxes and shipping, you'd probably be looking, nudging on the best side of £500, so anything between £450 and £500 here in the UK, and that's a lot of money. You also have, if you want to push the boat out, you can get some really high-end lightsabers that have crystal focus units inside them, that have the neo pixel blades, which basically means that the blades have extra lighting effects. So you can have a flame effect within the blade. The blades can change colour, they can pulse, they can do all kinds of tricks. You can change sound fonts. You can do all kinds of tricks, but then you would be looking to be spending in the region of sort of, you can get them round about the 400 mark, but realistically, if you want something really high end, then you'd be looking sort of between £500, £1,000, even beyond. You know, the sky's the limit when it comes to cybersmiths and what you can get out there, and there are some really stunning works of art as far as it comes to lightsabers. And these lightsabers are not necessarily from the Star Wars universe. Obviously it's been inspired from Star Wars, but these are completely unique styles of lightsabers that these sabersmiths are putting together. It's a fun hobby. I love it. I've recently ordered another one. It's a bit of a punt, I'll be honest with you. It's not an expensive lightsaber. I thought, you know what, it looks nice. From the description, it seems like it's almost too good to be true. It probably will be, but we'll see. So I'll wait for that to come in. It's on pre-order at the moment, so hopefully I'll get the thing in maybe about a month or two, and as soon as I've got that, I'll do a review and I'll let you know if it's worthwhile spending £150 on a lightsaber. It's basically a metal hilt. It's got full RGB lighting. You can change it to any colour. It's got 3 sound fonts that you can change. You can change all the lighting, all the sound effects straight from the saber. You haven't got to plug it in and link it to a computer to do that. Everything's done on the lightsaber. So I was just intrigued really, and it's the reason why I've ordered this. I just can't wait to see exactly what I'm going to get for £150. But as soon as I've got that, I'll let you know, and it might be something that might be of interest to you. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's not been too long, but I'll come back with another video soon.